Well, good morning, everyone. This will be a bonus webinar presentation by Environmental Services Division here at Public Works with the City of Superior. I'm Wendy Grethen, and the topic for today is Superior Recycles for a Cleaner Environment. Here, the topic of recycling, we can do a quick mention that nature is recycling and has been recycling all along. Nature's bacteria and many organisms help to return nutrients to the environment. We're using the same nitrogen atoms, carbon atoms since all time, as well as water. And to look at the municipal solid waste generation that's occurred over 5 decades of time, the lines do go up. We're producing many more millions of tons of waste as time has gone on. It's somewhat leveled off, but overall the trend is up. And in terms of even looking at per capita generation of waste, pounds per person per day, that also is going up at a slower rate, but with more people present, that means more waste. And where do we put it? The average American produces about 4.4 pounds of garbage per day, which makes up about 1,600 pounds per year. And when you even look at one of the world's largest man-made structures, it is a landfill. And the Fresh Kills landfill is actually closed because it has reached its capacity. Here's a closer look. This includes information on WLSSD, which has their waste coming over to Superior landfill here, and also 5 other sites in Minnesota were analyzed this past year and compared to 2000 the information. And I wanted you to more closely look at that paper. When we look at the components of waste, paper is making up less of waste, so that's good. We're seeing less paper being sent to landfills. However, some things that are growing are organic materials, and that isn't including, when I look at the more detailed breakdown of these, it actually isn't leaves and grass, it's food waste, and then some other organic material. There also is a category of other, and other includes materials, textiles, carpeting, and that's also another chunk. The next slide has it as a pie graph for, again, the more current information. The makeup from paper, organic, and other are definitely making up most. It's good to see electronics are not making up very much. They should not be. They're banned from landfills. But meanwhile, many of these things, plastic, glass, and paper, can be recycled. They don't need to be heading to the landfill. And what we'll be getting at, or in this presentation, I'd like to get some information to you about household hazardous waste. That's what HHW is abbreviated for, and some heavy metals. Here there is a national holiday, if you will, called America Recycles Day. It's held every November, November 15th, and it's put together by Keep America Beautiful. And their mission this past year was I Want to Be A, that they challenged people of what can an aluminum can become, what can glass that we no longer want as the container, but what else can it become? So I thought that was a creative approach to looking at it, and there's many possibilities. From their website, americarecyclesday.org, you can find how to come up with your own event and how to host an event, and whether you have it held in November. And also for the public to take a pledge of reducing their waste and properly recycling waste. I also like that they have this resource information on public space recycling, because it isn't just what we do in our homes and what we put out on our curbs, but when we go to school, universities, different places in the community, that's where we can, or we do have the need, again, to be recycling. give some information from by using a webinar, a recorded webinar, to give you more information on organizing events. There's also some research and case studies and behavioral research on why a person would recycle or not recycle. And convenience is definitely a part of it. And I challenge you of what can you get together in place for next year to hold an event or just do some more recycling on your own. Benefits of recycling, many, many benefits. One, we're using less resources. Landfill basically is a dead end for things, and it doesn't have to be. Many of the materials can be put to other uses instead of having us have to go to the virgin supply of trees or other sources to keep getting some more material. It can save money, and it does help protect the environment. Here, the leachate from the landfill comes to the wastewater treatment plant here for Superior, and that leachate runs through our treatment plant, and our plant cannot take out some of these heavy metals or different toxics that might be present in what has leached through the landfill. So we don't want those materials to get to the landfill in the first place. Human health benefits from doing more recycling, and for some items it is the law to not put them in landfills. This is actually an information sheet off the America Recycles one. You can download this poster. Plastic is a piece of material that can be recycled, and people sometimes are thinking about bottles of plastics and different things, but I wanted to put this in just because there's a category of film that people might not have heard of, but it's just the lighter weight plastic, and that's what our shopping bags are. Many different bags, but then also here in the holiday time of year where we might be getting more packages delivered to us, and air pillows, those are also a film. So these are just some examples of film, and they are all recyclable, so you can go there for more information. And we are especially interested in aquatic environments, and we don't live next to an ocean, but Lake Superior here, we don't want to be having plastics blow from the landfill and head out to nearby bay of Lake Superior. That aquatic life and plastic don't do well together. Here is an ocean example of the way the currents are in the ocean. Garbage, plastic mostly, is accumulating in places, and aquatic life is unfortunately consuming many different things. Here, 59 different plastic items were found inside a whale. So they're consuming these things, so if we can not have them reach oceans and waterways, that will benefit the health of aquatic organisms, large and small. Well, since the wastewater treatment plant here is more about water, I wanted to get more into specific things that need to be recycled. Here, I'm not saying plastic and glass, and those don't need to be recycled, but I wanted to make an extra emphasis on certain materials. There's a category of waste called universal waste, and that includes such things as batteries, pesticides, paint, that they're not so hazardous that you need people with special white suits and gloves and things to carry it away. However, these items should not be heading to a landfill or down a drain. They have toxic components to them. And they are in our household. They're not just in special workplaces. Things like a fluorescent bulb and some of the older models of thermostats and mercury thermometers are still out there. Those items with the mercury should never, ever be put into a trash can. In fact, they need to, you need to take caution if these are ever broken and spilled. And we have information of that on our website. The problem with having mercury enter the natural system is that it bioaccumulates, and that's why we even have fish advisories locally and statewide. And our bulbs and thermometers, the main source of mercury? Most likely not. It actually is burning of coal at power plants. However, we do not want these other mercury items going to the landfill, which can then leach out and come through the wastewater treatment plant here and head out. I have a little picture of bioaccumulation down below here. Low levels of mercury can ultimately impact higher up on the food chain and biomagnify 10,000 times the background lake level. So that means that fish or humans eating the fish can have toxic levels in them, unhealthy levels. So again, these items should be properly disposed of. We do not want them into landfills or being incinerated. And the good news is all can be recycled. And here at the wastewater treatment plant, we are a site where you can drop off items containing mercury, household items, for Superior residents. So those compact fluorescent bulbs, that they do last longer than the other bulbs and save you energy. So that's a good fact, but meanwhile, those should not head ever to the regular garbage. So fluorescent bulbs, or even the larger fluorescent tubes. Thermostats, these are what some of the old kind look like, and some of those, when you turn them over, there is actually a little vial with a blob of mercury present, and that, again, should not go into the garbage. And with thermostats, if you bring one of those in, we will give you a free mercury-free one. Here's where we are, located at the Superior Wastewater Treatment Plant. We're just off, easy to reach off 53 Highway 2. Head toward the bay, and we're at 51 East 1st Street. And you just come right up. We have a new sign. Come right up, come into the office here onto the 2nd floor, and we will, for free, there's no charge if you bring us your bulbs, thermometers, different things with mercury. Here's a little list of some other things. We'd be happy to work with you, too, if you ever want to tour the wastewater treatment plant. We also have some native gardens and some more things. But we are a drop-off site for mercury. These items should not go into the garbage. Batteries, here the holidays and gift giving, sometimes there are more and more batteries. One thing about batteries is you can extend their life by keeping the contacts clean and by using the correct charger when you're using rechargeable batteries. We do recommend using rechargeable batteries. They last longer and can be recharged well over 100 times. They do, however, have limited shelf life. And batteries just have a whole mix of different materials in them depending on the type of battery, whether the household batteries or car battery. But what's good news is there are places, many places, that accept these for free, and if you can just make sure they get to recycling places. Here's a list of some recycling places that will accept your batteries. Button batteries, hearing aid batteries, those also contain mercury and need to be recycled and not put in the trash. There are a couple programs out there to assist in recycling of batteries. There's something called Call to Recycle, and with them you actually are given a big brown box, so your workplace or a different place you can have one of these set up, and then it's free shipping to send it back. You put in the batteries. Unfortunately, they are only for rechargeable batteries. Single-use batteries are not recycled. And here's another kit idea that you can get going. We do have several in town, too. We have one here. The Senior Center has one, Government Center. So it is more and more available places to properly recycle batteries. E-waste, electronic waste in our society, whether cell phones, old computers, televisions, equipment, these electrical and electronic equipment components are very readily reusable and turned into scrap material and can be become a next life for them. Wisconsin also has the e-cycle program through the DNR, and that program is funded by electronics manufacturers to, again, make it more and more convenient or available of places that recycle electronics. Here in Superior, well, statewide, there's over 450 ways people can recycle electronics, 450 places. And here in Superior, we have quite a few too. There are fees for some electronic recycling. They're minimal, but meanwhile, these should not go into the trash. There also are collections, which I'll mention at the end too. So whether you anytime bring it to some places, including the landfill in Superior, or wait for a collection. Another category of waste is household hazardous waste. By disposing of this properly, you are definitely make a difference with the quality of the health of water, our waterways. In Superior, we don't have a specific place for collecting some of the household hazardous waste, but right over in Duluth, WLSSD, the Western Lake Superior Sanitary District at 27th Avenue West in the waterfront, is open year-round, and it's only open 3 days a week. Thursday through Saturday are the current hours, and they have what's called a product reuse center as part of their hazardous waste facility. And they are capable of taking paints and glues and pesticides, chemicals, different things. You bring it there for free. You don't have to give your name, just your zip code. It can also be a place if you're looking to get just a little bit of paint or a little bit of a stain. They have a nicely laid out store, but again, it's all free. And basically, instead of throwing any of this down a drain or disposing of it in a landfill, it's available for people to use it as it's meant to be used. So definitely take advantage of that, both on the drop-off end or the pickup end. Another component of waste that we do generate, and was quite a big part of that pie of showing the municipal waste generation, is organic material. In our yards, we have leaves and grass clippings part of the year, but we also can be adding food waste into a nice compost, and we sold quite a few of these last spring, the Earth Machine compost. But you can also just make your own simple bin to put in leaves and grass clippings. We also on our website, or you can give us a call to find out more about making your own pet waste digester. What's neat, back to WLSSD, they have quite a large-scale food waste recycling program. They put some of the information in a little video called Harvesting Leftovers that you can see. But throughout Duluth, there are spots that the community can go to bring their food waste if they don't want to do it in their own yard, as well as WLSSD works with groups when there's a special event, or some of the schools and nursing homes and places that generate food waste, and they bring it all in and have a big pile and tend the pile and make wonderful compost, the garden green that they sell in the summertime, summer and fall. The EPA on a national scale also has a definite effort to reduce organic waste, organic food waste going to landfills with their campaign, Feed People, Not Landfills. And they recognize food recovery can happen. It's a challenge, but we can be recovering food, and much of the food that is discarded in landfills is actually safe, wholesome food that could have been used to feed people. So that's another piece to think about if you have leftover food at an event. Another more information about yard waste, the Superior Landfill over on Moccasin Mike Road does have where you can drop off leaves and grass clippings for free. Just take off the bags. We also in Superior supply free curb pickup of yard waste in the spring. Other things about the landfill, and I'll have an additional slide too. The landfill is where you can bring tires, and those are, there is a fee, but those are separated and recycled. There's oil collection, no fee drop-off for if you change your own motor oil. You can bring that there. and that also is then recycled. Mattresses, as long as they're clean and dry, can be brought there, and Goodwill in the community is recycling those. E-waste and is another thing. There is a reuse center, a little shack, part of the landfill where you can put like a piece of furniture or a bicycle or something, that instead of these usable items, instead of having those go to the landfill, and of which the landfills do have limited capacity, then that would be good to keep it out of the landfill and make it available for someone who might use it. More information on the Superior landfill. This is a list of what's banned. Recyclables, including plastic, cardboard, paper magazines. The list is there. Oil is not allowed, although again it is a public drop-off site for both the oil and the oil filters. Appliances are not accepted there. Hazardous waste, which again, as I mentioned, bring it to WLSSD. It's free. Demolition, remodeling, or building materials, and then also some special categories. Packaging, I just included this slide because we are at the holiday time, and but year-round, if we can select items that we buy with less packaging on them, or buy in bulk, that reduces the amount of packaging, which often ends up being plastic or cardboard. And then we can choose, there's different kinds of plastics and even some with thinner amounts of plastics. Wrapping paper, you can make your own from newspapers. So simple ways of you making a difference of using less by not having packaging. Bring your own container at a restaurant. Bring your own shopping bag. In Japan, there's furoshiki, is where they actually do use basically like a handkerchief fabric in a nicely folded way, and that's how they present their gifts. Using less by, again, less packaging, but if the more we use less, then we'll reduce how much waste we generate. Buy only what you need, and this includes medicine too. We are always trying to promote that there is a medicine drop-off box at the police station, that medicine is something that shouldn't be flushed down the toilet. But if you have waste medicine that it's expired or you no longer need it, or if the doctors give you too many samples of something, you can refuse it, and at your appointment refuse having too much, or don't buy the giant aspirin bottle that you won't be using it all and then it'll expire before you need it. So go ahead and buy the smaller amount. We are giving out spray bottles to make your own non-toxic cleaner, and that's part of keeping a healthier environment. Then you're not going to be going through many more plastic bottles for cleaning supply, and the cleaning material will be friendlier for the environment. Here, wintertime, winter salt is something else. If we use less of it, and then if there appears to be excess out on the sidewalk, you actually can sweep that up and be ready to use it again. I have the word take-backs in here. Part of using less and producing less waste is making sure the stores can take things back and have items that are recycled available. I put in this information of an organization that has a pretty bold name to it, Zero Waste. It's an alliance that is working with industries and communities to help make sure that there is a market for some of the recyclable items. It's also trying to break down barriers that would prevent someone from recycling and just be an exchange location. They also work with toxic materials and emissions. Garbology is an example of trying to research what is our garbage and does it need to be thrown away. Also, I put in this solid waste integrated resource plan. If we can plan more, Los Angeles is a great example going forward as a city where they're evaluating not only the disposal, making sure people are recycling, so recovering the resources, but they also are heavily working with people on the product use and product creation end. So how can it be packaged or manufactured so that it produces less waste or lasts longer and isn't considered disposable but actually lasts longer? How can materials in them be made of recycled materials? So those are more parts of us as a whole making less waste. Earth 911 is another website that you can do searches for recycling, learn about some projects that you can do with what would have been considered waste. There's also 1-800-recycling.com. So you can find places if you have a certain item that is waste, you can look that up in those and they'll give you some places where you can recycle them. And recycling really is part of the community here. It's important for aquatic environmental health and human health, but it's also part of business. There are 3 sectors that have come about with recycling. The whole category of reuse actually is if we can take usable things and make them just available to someone else who could use them. Just because one person is done with it doesn't mean someone else can't use it as it is. So different consignment stores. And we do locally, as of August, Habitat for Humanity in Superior has a restore store that has items, is a place you can bring items like an old lamp or a door or a window or things relating to buildings or in homes. And so you can go there to drop things off or to buy things, and then the purchase of that helps to support, to help them fund to make a house available for people. Repair industry, that whole industry is pretty big. There are numerous car locations in Superior that are helping to maintain your car, repair your car, keep it running longer. Rental is another thing. There are businesses such as for home health equipment. Instead of everyone needing to buy their own, if you just need something for a short amount of time, you can just rent it. And really, a library is an excellent example of having multiple people use the same thing. So all that helps using less and helps be part of the community. This is part of money, jobs, good local goods, and local services. Recycling can also be a way of raising funds for different things. Locally, the Animal Allies and schools and other locations do collection of shiny paper, the magazine paper. The hockey group has a beverage can collection on Belknap at the Super One. Schools have assorted collections. The library does have book sales. Many different examples, and they're help to bring in money and help support programs in our community. This was a display at Northern Lights Elementary, some of the things that they have ongoing that they want you to bring in, and then that helps them raise money. This was a little app that I found on the computer. It's called WARM, standing for Waste Reduction Model, and it actually gives you a quick look at if you recycle so many glass bottles or cans, then how much that equivalent would be in power, in electricity. So that if you recycle 4 plastic bottles, you might be able to run your computer for 3 hours. So recycling has benefits in terms of energy. Other local things, there are phone book collections. That's a paper item that should not go to the landfill. There's also holiday tree collections once the holidays are over. There's different places that accept that natural material and can shred it and chip it and make materials for paths. There are dispensers locally with UCare for shoes and clothes. and then again aluminum cans. So different ongoing collections, or you can start your own. Exchange, learning from each other, is another part of awareness about what can be recycled or how we can use less, or use something in a different way. Upcycling is that. We can be sharing items more. Free cycle is through the internet a way to announce something that you might have to give away free, and then or you can find things. Rummage sales, consignment stores. The Duluth News Tribune has Swap Shop, where you can list for free an item, again, to give it away. There's different websites more on an industry level to try and match people with a waste material and what they, who else might potentially want that waste material. So creating these markets, creating these businesses from the waste just helps us all. So the combination of learning what you can do at home or at your school, with your church, your neighborhood, or workplace, or at events. Even that America Recycles Day had information on tailgating, how you can do that with producing less waste. Because remember, you as a consumer are very important. It's good that you would buy items with recycled content. That helps the stream of the business go that direction. And then again, here at the wastewater treatment plant, we definitely want you to be properly disposing of items. And a couple more local things and nature lesson, I guess. Biodegradation. That is referring to how bacteria in the soil can transform something into other useful compounds, and sometimes light, ultraviolet light, can be part of breaking things down. Photodegradation. Well, in a landfill, it basically can be so compacted that there is no light, and it just makes it less of a place where degradation can occur. So having your separate compost pile, having sending certain things to be recycled is the way to go compared to having it be in a dead-end landfill. There's also efforts to make things that do degrade a little bit better. Pure plastics tend to be petroleum-based, but there are some things being made called bioplastics, made of corn or pea starch, and then those do degrade better. And as a comment about plastics, here a UWS professor is working at, she's noticing that in the Great Lakes there are different microplastics. These are on the small scale coming from beauty products. So she's doing an effort for that, and then hopefully industries will not have these out in products. But meanwhile, again, as consumers, we can not be purchasing certain things that can be a problem. Her effort is also relating to pollutants that can be on those particles. And just a couple more slides. I've liked the book Cradle to Cradle, and that is saying that instead of cradle to grave, instead of making a product and have it end in a landfill, it really does take on the design end to come up with a way so that it's designed that it can be used in a different way when it's done. The materials can be recovered. There's tons of creative upcycling approaches and ways to kind of have it live again. But overall, we're seeking to divert waste. Landfills do have a limited capacity, and if the wrong things are put in the landfill, that leachate, which comes to the wastewater treatment plant, goes right out to the Superior Bay, Lake Superior, and that also is where our drinking water comes from. Other R words here: reduce, reuse, recycle. I have them sized as the importance. It actually is very valuable to think reduce first, so not get a plastic bag at the grocery store, but bring your own. Reuse things, and then recycling. Recycling is important, but these other two beforehand are very, very important as well. You can also refuse, rot, work with composting, repurpose items, repair items, and maybe again you might start a business, develop certain skills and help to repair things, regift items, and just reflect on what is in our garbage and does it need to be there. Do you know what can be recycled? Some things that weren't able to be recycled 10 years ago now can be. We're advancing, so that's exciting. And how much of your waste could be recycled? Do you have anything going to a landfill that doesn't need to be? And then how much are you willing to recycle and again reduce and reuse? Landfills are not pretty places. The plastic can blow away, the gulls are there, but a lot of that material should never go to a landfill. We just, in our garbage, we take it away, but it doesn't have to be. It can become a future bench, or even clothing can be made of plastic. So it takes us not sending things to the garbage can. Less is better. And then I'll end with a few local sources. Dan Hartle with Hartel's DBJ has the contract with the City of Superior both for garbage pickup and for recycling pickup. They had switched to a no-sort recycling, making it more convenient for people. And their website has a frequently asked questions page, more things, and you can contact them. There also is AAA Roll-Off that he is working with projects with LEED to be certified for this certain building projects. When they go and tear down something, the debris that can accumulate can be quite extensive. Well, a building project will actually get points depending on how much of that debris is diverted from landfills. And he's a clever person and very good at working and separating the materials so that the wood, the different materials can be kept out of the landfill. In fact, he makes landscape mulch available from it. He also, at a program we did in November, came with some chunks of porcelain from a toilet, and figures those can actually also be a gardening material. And then another local source is the Douglas County Recycling Coordinator, Mary Clune, who's been in her position over 15 years, and the department's been there. There's a committee on recycling that meets regularly that you can put in input. She also does this clean sweep event, which is part for medicine, appliances, electronics. It's a big event that is held for in Superior at the fairgrounds in late June each year. It's just a once a year, and she has a recycling newsletter too. If you're not on it, you can give her a call. So much of our waste is recyclable, and most of the public agrees that it is worthwhile to recycle. And this was a statistic in the UK, but the amount that actually is recycled is much less than what can be. So make change happen one item at a time. We do have a disposal guide on our website that can help assist you and remind you of where certain things can go, because again, we don't want mercury into the environment that is completely recyclable. We also want to find opportunities for material to be reused, the metals, glass, different things, and then it's also by law requirements to not put certain things into the landfill, and that's for protection. If you'd like us at all ever to give a presentation to a group, just let us know. Is there an easy button for all of this? It just takes steps, and we can all make it happen for a clean, healthy environment, for a healthy planet and healthy people. Thank you for listening.